Hey guys, so today what we're going to do is look at Herbert Hoover's response to the Great Depression. So keep in mind at this point in time, we talked about the stock market crashed, which caused overproduction, which caused unemployment because we didn't need people to make things, because they had too much floating around, because people didn't have money to buy it, which caused the Great Depression. So now it's a period of time where not a lot of people had a lot of jobs. They were losing their houses. They didn't know how they were going to get their next meals. So it was a very depressing time. Okay. So we're going to look at the president at the time that this happened. We're going to look at his response. Okay. So don't skip ahead and do the work because I'm giving you different assignments than just what's on the paper. Okay. So let's get into it. Here it is, guys. Herbert Hoover responds to the Great Depression. So, we're going to start down here. All right, read to learn. All right, just read along with me. Publicly, President Hoover declared the economy to be on the right track soon after Black Tuesday. Privately, he was worried. He brought together business, as well as government and labor leaders. Industry leaders promised not to cut factory or cut wages. Remember, wages means pay. By 1931, just 2 years later, they had broken those promises. Hoover increased public works or government-financed building projects to create jobs. It wasn't enough. For public works to make a dent, Hoover needed to massively increase government spending. He would have to either raise taxes or run a deficit. When you run a deficit, that means you're going into debt. So he was talking about he could either raise taxes and make people pay more money when they were already struggling with money, or he could make the government go into debt. It's not something presidents normally want to do because it makes them look bad. Either way, Hoover was afraid it would only delay economic recovery. Hoover set up the National Credit Corporation. We're right here because I went off track a little bit. Hoover set up the National Credit Corporation and the Reconstruction Finance Corporation to provide money to banks and businesses, but neither had met the nation's needs. Hoover opposed relief, which is money given directly to destitute families. So Herbert Hoover didn't believe in welfare. He didn't believe in food stamps. He didn't believe in Social Security. These things didn't exist yet, but if they did, he wouldn't have believed in them. So that's why he didn't create any of these programs. It ended up happening after he was done being president. Okay, so that's what that means right there, that he opposed relief. He didn't believe in giving families money just because they were struggling. He tried to find other ways to provide relief. Okay, so by the spring of 1933, local and state governments were running out of money. Congress passed an act to provide loans and states for direct relief. Hoover signed it, but the program could not reverse the economy's downward spiral. So the economy was getting worse and worse. The state of the country's money, jobs, and everything was getting worse and worse. So we're going to move on to In an Angry Mood. So the response to Herbert Hoover's actions or lack of actions in a lot of people's opinions is what we're going to talk about in this paragraph. All right. After the stock market crash in 1929, people were prepared to accept bad times. They knew, okay, bad times are coming. The stock market crash is going to suck for a while. By 1931, people wanted more government help. So 2 years after the stock market crash, they're like, okay, enough's enough. It shouldn't be going on this long. The government should step in and help out. The suffering nation grew restless and people began to revolt. Farms were heavily mortgaged to pay for supplies. Many lost their homes when creditors foreclosed and took ownership. So what this means is when you own a property and you don't pay on that property, it's called foreclosure. They foreclose on it, and that means that they kick you out of that property. The same thing when a car gets repoed or repossessed for non-payment. It's the same thing. They're just kicking you out instead of taking it away. Other families began destroying crops, hoping that the lack of supply would raise prices. So keep in mind, if there are 5 people in your household and there are 10 apples, you're not really worried about getting an apple, right? It's not really something you're concerned with. There's plenty of apples. But if there are 5 people in your household and there's only 2 apples left, then you might get a little more greedy and be like, no, you know what? I'm going to hide this apple. I'm going to keep it for me. So that's what the farmers started doing. They figured if they destroyed the crops that they made, then people would start to scurry and they would start to like, oh no, I need this. I don't really care how much it is. There isn't that many around. Think about toilet paper now. You know, they could easily, they're not allowed, it's illegal. It's called price gouging. But they could easily raise the price of toilet paper right now and people would pay it. They could charge $10 for a 4-pack of toilet paper and people would pay it because there's not a lot of it right now. It's the same principle to what the farmers were doing back then. They were destroying their product, hoping it would make the prices go up. Okay, so I have a video to show you. It's an actual news clip of the bonus, not the bonus, we're getting to that, of the riots of the farmers. All right, so we're going to watch this video. Oh.
These Iowa farmers have armed themselves to oppose the farm strike. They call themselves the Law and Order League, and they're guarding farm product shipments through the picket lines. Meanwhile, reconstruction work is going ahead rapidly on the railroad and highway bridges burned by the farm strikers several days ago in a desperate effort to halt the movement of farm produce. Anti-picketing sympathy is growing stronger among the farm residents of this section, and the resumption of shipments is a welcome sight to the majority of them. But the trouble's not over yet. No, not by a long shot.
So what you saw in that clip was 2 different groups of farmers. Farmers that did not feel that the crops should be destroyed, and then other farmers that were trying to make sure that the crops were destroyed. So just like now, just like always, there are always people that disagree on how things should happen. And that's what that news clip was covering. That, you know, some people felt that the food should be destroyed to raise prices, and some people felt that they shouldn't. All right, so we have farmers struggling. Now we're going to get into other people that are struggling. So we're right here where it says Congress. So again, read along with me. Congress had scheduled bonus payments of $1,000 to World War I veterans for 1945. In 1931, a congressman introduced a bill to distribute the bonus early. So basically, the soldiers that fought in World War I, it was decided that in 1945, which is still about 15 years from right now what we're studying, but because of the state of the economy, because the times were so bad, that a congressman suggested, hey, we should probably pay these veterans early. But it got shot down. Okay, so that's what we just read. Okay, so now we're right here. All right, a group of veterans dubbed the Bonus Army by the press marched to the Capitol, which is Washington, D.C., to lobby for early bonuses. So they went to say, hey, look, I know you shot this law down, but we really need this money now. You really should reconsider. Okay, the Senate voted down the bill. Many veterans went home. Some stayed on, squatting in vacant buildings or in camps. President Hoover ordered the buildings cleared, but the camps left alone. So he's saying, look, they can't hang out in these empty buildings, but they can keep their camps and they can stay and picket, protest as long as they want to. However, when police killed 2 veterans, the army was called in. General Douglas ignored Hoover's orders and attempted to remove all the veterans, including those in the camps. Okay, now when we were thinking back to Woodrow Wilson and how the suffragettes got force-fed, right? We know Woodrow Wilson did not order that to happen, but it happened while he was president. So he was worried about his reputation. He got blamed for it. Things happen to, like, this kind of stuff happens to every president. They can't control everything everyone does, but they get the blame for it. Okay, so newsreels of troops assaulting veterans further damaged Hoover's reputation and haunted him throughout the 1932 campaign. Although Hoover failed to end the Depression, he expanded the role of government more than any other president before him. So he did try to make improvements to end the Depression. He just wasn't successful. So I have one more video to show you. So this video is going to be about the bonus armies that what we just read said that newsreels, which are news broadcasts, they would record the riots that were going on. So that is actually what we're going to watch.
It's war, the greatest concentration of fighting troops in Washington since 1865. The 3rd Cavalry from Fort Myer and the 1st Light Tank Regiment, grim and relentless. The 12th Infantry from Fort Washington, all assembled with a single purpose, to rout the bonus army from government property which they've been occupying without permission.
So the news broadcaster is saying that the army is coming in to get rid of the protesters. Keep in mind, these protesters are former war veterans. They just want their money early. So just kind of keep that in mind as you see what the military comes in to have them do. Because it clearly says they're trying to evict them because they're on government property that they shouldn't be on.
Property which has to be torn down to make room for new buildings. The bonus veterans have defied their leaders. The police cannot handle them since the riot this morning that ended in 1 death and dozens wounded. And so they're being forced out of their shacks by smoke bombs and tear gas, hurled by the troops who have been called out by the President of the United States.
Smoke bombs and tear gas is what they're using to get rid of these former war veterans. Okay, so think about that. Think about if that happened today. That would be crazy, right? That would be all over Facebook. That would be everywhere. Okay, that would be a big deal to hear that people that defended our country are being tear gassed and smoke bombs by their own government. When we're watching this video, keep an eye on the people. They're wearing the face masks that you wear in war, like World War I, the big masks, they're really creepy looking. If you look, that's what the military is wearing, so you know this stuff is not supposed to be breathed in, and they're throwing it at them.
Mr. Hoover doesn't blame the veterans entirely. He claims that the disorder and defiance were caused by foreign reds and a large criminal element in the ranks of the veterans.
See what he's wearing? Look at what he's wearing.
In the history of the country, a day of bloodshed and riot, reminiscent of actual conditions in France in 17. Sullen, disgruntled, the veterans give way unwillingly before the steady advance of the soldiers. The tension is terrific. Real drama of the highest rank. But the orders of the President and Secretary of War must be obeyed. Gradually, the bonus army realizes that they better be good, and a general retreat begins, interrupted here and there by a stubborn veteran. But resistance isn't practical. They soon find out that it doesn't pay to monkey with a buzzsaw, and there's an occasional free ride to jail or hospital. And to make sure the men will really stay out, the soldiers have orders to burn down the unsanitary and illegal camp. And the roaring flames sound the death knell to the fantastic bonus army. Many have gone back home, betrayed by unscrupulous leaders. Some still sincere in the adventure that failed, and that ends so disastrously in the shadow of the beautiful dome of the capital of the United States of America.
So, after watching that video, you've got an idea of what the bonus army had gone through, okay, which is what this paragraph talked about, which the newsreel images, that's exactly what you just watched. You just watched newsreel images of troops assaulting veterans, okay? So, here is what you're doing for your assignment, okay? And this is one of the perks of watching these videos and not just getting straight to the work, okay? So, I do want you to have a cause and an effect, okay? But obviously, I want more than just what's in here. I want, some effects like what happened to the bonus army, okay? So, what caused the bonus march? What was an effect of the bonus march? So, causes you can find in here. Effects, I want more than just what's in here, okay? I want, what effects other than damaging his role, okay? What do you think the effects are for these veterans or the people watching, okay? So, what could you conclude about the mood of the public? So this kind of pull it from everything. You've got farmers destroying crops. You've got veterans being tear gassed and smoke gassed and having their tent areas burned down. They're being arrested. In the reading, it said that two veterans were killed. So what do you think the mood of the public is during this time? This is what they're seeing on the news, okay? And they're already struggling themselves. Okay, so what is the mood of the public? So I want you to answer determining cause and effect. I want you to answer drawing conclusions. Okay, and then I want you to, no, you don't have to do that either. What was the main idea? Nope. You know what? Just do these 3 things. This is the most important part. Okay. What do you think people's opinions of Herbert Hoover was? Okay. You're basically answering these 3 questions. All right. So determining cause and effect. What was the cause of the bonus march? What was an effect of the march? Okay. An effect, I want an effect from the video. The cause can be from the reading. Drawing conclusions. What can you conclude about the mood of the public? So what do you think if you lived during this time and the 2 videos I showed you is the kind of news that you were seeing? What would your mood be about what was going on in your country? How would you feel about the future of your country? Okay, what do you think they were thinking? Okay, so that is what you're going to be working on. Okay, you can hand it in however you want. You can write it down, take a picture of it, put it in Google Classroom, click turn it in. You can do it on a Google Doc. You can record a video of yourself explaining it to me. I am okay with however you hand it in as long as you hand it in. Okay? So I will see you in the next video.